Okay, today I just want to show you a little about getting some lunging work happening with a horse. And a lot of people want to do that. If you're not capable of riding through some of that energetic stuff you can get at the beginning of a work, and you want to get your horse out on a bit longer rope, I guess you can call it lunging. I don't like to tie their head in with side reins or anything like that. I don't find that overly beneficial. You know, just teach your horse to go along off the bridle or behind the bit, you know, and it can put them in a bit of an unnatural position. So I'm not a big lover of that. You can see here he's a little bit inclined to walk on you, and you know, he's still got those habits, and he's a horse that will take some time for those to disappear completely. So I'd get any of my horses out and they'd just stand there and they wouldn't look around, they wouldn't goof off. I'd like to show you that I could fix that really quickly. He's improving every day, but you know, the reality is, and I haven't wanted to hide any of that in this video, that a lot of that stuff is not fixed yet, you know. He's not perfect with everything yet, but you know, he's a lot better to handle than he was. So I'll just make sure my saddle's nice and snug. I've got the reins tied up with some length in there, so they just sort of hang. And to get started, you know, you don't want to start lunging. A lot of people have trouble. They'll get a horse and off the tracker and they'll start to lunge it, you know, and they'll put it on a long rope and they'll put it out and they'll get their lunge whip and they'll try and make that stuff work. And the horse will play up and it'll pull away, and, you know, so I would never start that until I had that work on the shorter rope, you know, groundwork, if you like, nailed down to a degree, you know. And that allows me to, you know, basically just let the horse out further and get the same sort of thing happening. So I'm going to ask him to fix his legs up, step across. That was nice. And you can see he's walking around me today, so that's nice. You know, a bit of a tail swish there. You know, this horse acts agitated, you know, if he thinks that you're just annoying him. If I can get my horse to walk around me to start like that, both directions, or pick him up, step him over, he's starting to do that really nicely. I'll pick him up. Now when I start letting him out, I'll change sides with where I've got the rope hooked on. I've just hooked onto his bridle. You can get started on this in a halter too, so if you're worried about your horse's behaviour, then a halter's the way to go. But if you're worried you can't sort of keep the horse with you, then you don't want to hurt his mouth. Okay, I'll get him stepping around me. I'm going to speed things up here. I'll grow. Good. That wasn't a bad little transition. I'll let him out a little. And you'll probably find, you know, the further out your horse gets, the more inclined it is to look out. You know, try and catch that a little by lifting your hand, and just get him to sort of bring his nose towards you. He's just clearing his throat there. Get him to step along and just cover a mile. But it's an aspect of working with you know, a lot of English riders like to lunge a lot. You know, and it's something you should be able to do, I guess, if you want to exercise your horse without being on it. But it's not a bad exercise to see how you're going with your groundwork. You know, he's flipping his head around there. Well, the further out they are, the less you can do about it. But if his behaviour, if he was jumping around and bucking and kicking or pulling away, I'd bring him in close and work him like we have in the earlier parts of the video. Okay, I'll pick him up a little here. See if I can roll him into a canter. Good. So I'm not chasing him into it because I don't want to deal with the behaviour that comes along with that. He fell out of it, I'll pick him up. You know, I don't really need a lunge whip with this guy. There are horses, I guess, that do. You know, it just makes it easier, but be careful if you use a lunge whip. Don't go stinging your horse behind the hocks or hurting him, because you start making them shy of things around their legs. You know, that's all stuff that they remember. That anything that hurts, they remember really well. I'll grow, roll him back into it. He picked the wrong lead there because he didn't listen. I'll pick him up, get him back to a trot, bring him round. And you might start. That's better. You know, if he falls out of it, just roll him back into it. Get a couple of nice laps here. You know, he's rushing a little yet. And the idea is that we just work him till he's settled. Good. You know, there are schools of thought that you know, this stuff's not necessary of the horse, and it's not, but you know, it depends. If you're not a terribly bold rider, you might want to work on this. And I thought it was really quite an important thing to show in this video. I get asked about it all the time. How do I get my horse to lunge? Pick him up and I'll grow exactly the same as we did in the round pen or the round yard. You call it what you want. Round yard in Australia, round pen in America, but a lot of those American terms becoming Australian terms, so he's disunited there. I'll just pick him up. Pick him up, he's not listening. Good. That was a tiny little bump. It's not I'm not trying to snag him, but just to get his attention. I don't want to teach him to lean on things. Disunited again. Disunited again. I'll pick him up as he gets that fence. Didn't work. He disunited again. So when a horse is not listening and they're rushy, they tend to do that. I'll just let him run a bit like that. It's not very comfortable for him. Hence the tail flagging. There he is. He sorted himself out. I'll let him fall out. I'll bring him out of it and let him relax down to a trot again when he gets it right. But I'm trying not to reward him too much. That was a better transition. He got it together. He got the correct lead. Now what you can do is when you ask for those transitions, ask by leading him towards the fence a little and putting a little pressure on him there and give him a little gap to go through, and that'll help him get the correct lead. He won't be thinking out. You know, if they're thinking about the direction you want to go, they'll pretty much pick it up every time. Good. Pick him up, down to a trot. Lots of transitions are good. We'll just get him to cover some ground here. And you'll notice I'm walking. I'm not just standing in the middle. You know, I'm letting him work out what I want from my energy still. Yeah, it's good exercise walking around the sand. It's blowing a gale today. I'll get my hat on. I'll pick him up. Let him relax a little. Good. I'll ask him to step across this way. Get your feet sorted out. That's what I don't want, is that jump. And see, that's what happens when they don't listen to you, and you've got to put that extra on there to get them to move. Then you get something you're not looking for. So just start again. Now I have his attention. He stepped round on the correct leg, you know, but I allowed him to get his feet sorted out. I just let him move around that way. I was going to show you, you know, once they're working, you often can get away with just leaving that on one side, and it has a similar effect because that outside ring still pushes on their face whichever way to, you know, whichever side of the bit you're on. But, you know, for the sake of making sure that he's totally not confused about that, I'll clip it on this side. What I'm not trying to do, I want him to be focused on me a little. I've seen people sort of do this work and they'll get the horse looking in like this all the way around. I don't want that. That's not balance. That's no more balance than him looking out. So, you know, I want him to be focused on me. I don't want his nose out like that. But I do want him to be able to be reasonably straight and balanced. You know, find the end of this rope and just follow it very, very softly. I'm not trying to hold him, or I'll give him a bit more rope here, a little more energy. See if I can get a nice canter transition around here somewhere. Beautiful. I'm on my own today, so I'm not sure whether he's going in and out of shot. I'll do the best I can. Nice transition. I'll bring him down again, down to a trot. He didn't listen. I'll pick up, I'll shorten up and pick up. There we go. Get my downward transition. When I'm riding, I want to pick both reins up and reduce my energy. I've only got one rein to work with here, so I'll pick that up and reduce my energy for my downward transitions. Upward transition, I'll lead him out, increase my energy. Bit rushy. That's it. He's sinking the gate there, so he grabbed the wrong lead. I'll just let him come back to a trot. I'll ask him again. I'll bring him round towards that fence. Ask him there and I'll get it every time. Hopefully. You never want to say anything will happen every time. That takes years before you can guarantee that in anything you do with a horse. That's why they have that old saying with competitors, you know, that amateurs practice so that they don't mess things up. Professionals practice until they can't mess it up. Something along those lines anyway. Right there, he didn't listen to me. I put a little on him. I'll just stop him. There's nice. Good. Remember, it's all about those habits. You know, this guy is an extremely high energy horse. So, you know, a mile or two won't hurt him. But what I'd like to see is for him to start to get a little more rhythmic, not lose his focus on me so much, lower his head and relax a little as he's going around. You know, that will come. I want him to be a little careful about his feet and how he uses them. Pick him up. Whoa. Throw that in the ground. I'll take him out the same way again. Beautiful. He stepped his shoulder over, off he goes. Might see if I can get him to come down to a walk. Beautiful. If I was riding, that would be lovely. I didn't ask for that. I'll just fix it up, bring him back to walk. I'll reach down, look at his side, get him to yield his hind a little. I'm not going to do the whole, he set himself up there to change directions, which is really nice. That's what I want to see. You know, it means he's thinking. He's not just flying back and forth. That was good. I'll lead him out, raise my energy, you know, increase my presence if I have to. That's an increase of presence there. You know, when I swing the rope, I'm not swinging it at him. If you use lunge whip, try and use it as something that increases your presence rather than something to flip at your horse with so much. You don't want to overdo this. Every day make a sour horse, so don't work him into a lung busting froth of sweat, and you know, just work him till he's relaxed. I might just shorten these reins just a little, because I'd like him to put his head down, but I don't want him to get a foot through them, but I want him long enough that he feels like he can get his head down, not long enough that he feels like he might run into it if he tries to put his head down. There's a difference if you really think about it. So, you know, I just tie off on that strap there on my saddle, but you could tie off anywhere really. When they're loose like that, it doesn't matter much. Couple more transitions, up and then down. Good. Okay, get him to sort his weight out, step his shoulder over. As explained in the earlier part of the video, you know, manage your rope, coil it, don't wrap it around your hand, have it so you can feed the coils if you need to, but you have something to increase your presence with. I'll lead him out, increase my presence, get a canter transition. I'm not trying to drag him around that corner. Just ask him and I'll feed him some rope if he's falling out. I don't want to drag on his head and pull him off balance. And just let him find out how to get around there. Look behind him a little when he does that. That was better. Good. Nice. So he's, you know, a little warmed up now, a little better, so a little more relaxed and, you know, a little more focused on me. But that's lunging.